important thing, since they took it away and wouldn't let us do the research, and we know that we're well behind the curve. I can tell you as a researcher, a lot of things that end up being, related to issues, you don't really know until you start doing the research. The more research you can do, the more different aspects of it you can look at, the more you're going to find out. And a lot of times, they're pretty surprising things that you can find, relationships between things, and then you can take those findings and you can actually come up with ways to improve the solutions to those findings. And we should never say, okay, well, we did that done study, this is my prediction, this is what's going to happen. We did that study. Remember, back in 2018 through 2020, we did that study, and this is what we found, and now we know what we need to do. This is something that needs to be ongoing. I suggest we take it out of the defense budget. I think that seems reasonable, that seems fair. Instead of buying more weapons, why don't we take the money that we would be spending on weapon systems and that kind of thing to have more weapons around the world, and use that here to make our people, our students, feel safer. I think that this will really reduce the money. Again, research is absolutely critical in everything that we do. If you want good policy, if you don't want policy that's directed by corporations and politicians that are in the pockets of corporations, you want this kind of research, you want it to be something that the people can get behind and the people can support. That's what we need to be doing. We need to be doing it to keep us safe, right? Not make corporations more wealthy and that type of thing, or make politicians able to keep their donors happy because they spent this money on all of these other things that we don't really need to make us feel safer. Again, we're talking about making students feel safer. Shouldn't we be spending a lot of money on research for that? I think we should, definitely.
I also support spending, fixing that and getting research done by the CDC. I'll also tell you, being at the local government, it's not a job where you are, funded by lobbyists or anything. I made $4,000 a year in my last day last year as mayor of the city of Saline. It's not something you do because you're in the pocket of anybody. It's something you do because you love your community and you want to help and you want to give back. So what I learned, and I will just tell you this, you can study things and study things and study things. And that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been doing about our roads. We've been studying it. I worked on trying to fix our infrastructure for 20 years. We studied it multiple times. Is it fixed? I would say no. So I certainly support investing in the research because, again, that gives you more facts to work with. And as I said earlier, knowledge is power. That is not going to solve the issues that we have today. And if we just make an excuse of, we need to study it, that's not enough. So certainly, always, we need to be as informed as possible and try to identify as many areas where we can make a difference. But let's just not use that as an excuse for, we can't do anything right now because we have to study.
I think study and research is very important on every issue. As I talk to those that come to our office to talk about any issue, I listen to everyone because there's more experts out there than me. I'm not sure I'm an expert in anything, honestly. But we don't know everything there is to know about every issue. And we have to listen and we have to look at our research to study. And I would support any research on this issue as well as any other issue. The key is what we do with that research when it's finished. We just can't put it on a shelf and leave it sit there. We have to use it. In one way or another, we have to use it because whatever in that studies is certainly something that's important to the issue. And I just want to make sure that whatever it is, we just don't put it on the shelf and leave it there for the next 20 years.
One of the things, because I heard the last two speakers say something about research and that kind of thing. I just want to be clear, because obviously you might not understand the policy and evaluation part of my background. So policy and evaluation is you take the research, you develop policy, you evaluate that policy, you do research, you develop policy, you do evaluation of that policy. It's an ongoing continuous improvement, okay? It's really important that you understand that. When I say that I'm for research and I've worked in research, it's not, we did this study, we had these findings, we put it in the book, we put it on a shelf, and nobody did anything with it, okay? What we're asking for, what you need to be asking for when you're talking to people about this is that you want research and policy evaluation, okay? You want research that informs the policy, and you evaluate it, and it's a cycle that never, ever, ever, ever stops, okay? Thank you.
All right, because our other co-leader had a conflict today and wasn't able to make it, I'll be taking some of her questions, so just putting that out there so it doesn't seem odd that I'm doing a lot of talking. So our next question is about banning bump stocks, high-capacity magazines, and assault-style weapons. We know that gun violence will not end when we ban bump stocks, high-capacity mags, and assault weapons. However, we also know that a killer's ability to slaughter nearly 60 people in 10 minutes will be removed if we do. We know that hunters have multiple other options for their sport, and we believe that these weapons do not belong in the hands of civilians under any circumstances. Would you support a complete ban on bump stocks, high-capacity magazines, and assault weapons?
Automatic weapons are already approved. If there's any product out there that makes a semi-automatic into a fully automatic weapon, I believe that becomes an automatic weapon and would be illegal. But I believe it needs, and probably will at some point in time, be an issue that the Supreme Court will probably have a lawsuit on. And I look forward to that lawsuit because I think it's the only place that can decide that issue, how our laws are written today. And I believe that it probably would be considered a fully automatic weapon if it fires as a fully automatic weapon. So I think if we go with our current law, I believe bump stocks would be deemed illegal. But I'm not an expert on that, and I think our court system needs to deal with that.
I support banning bump stocks. The rest, I think, is very technical and complicated, and it's not as simple as it sounds. I've talked to a lot of people, I've talked to hunters that use weapons different ways, and I think that is something that we need to work on together to solve the problem. And as I said from the very beginning, I'm 100% committed to safer communities and safer schools. We need to work together on those, the devils and the details on some of this.
Okay, like I said, I was a weapons system specialist in the Air Force. Does everyone here understand the difference between an automatic weapon and a semi-automatic weapon? If you don't, raise your hand so I won't explain it. Okay. So an automatic weapon obviously means you pull the trigger and it keeps firing until the magazine's empty or it jams up, which is usually what happens. A semi-automatic weapon, what it does is it chambers the next round. You pull the trigger, bang, the next round gets loaded in automatically. That's a semi-automatic weapon. We have that, okay? You are able to get a license to have an automatic weapon, by the way. It's not they're not all outlawed. You have to get a special license, go through a special permitting process to be able to do that. I would love to have a conversation with a hunter that explains to me why they need an automatic weapon to hunt. Okay? I can see, you know, if a deer was carrying, whipped out a weapon, and they were shooting at each other, yeah, maybe you need to have the ability to shoot a couple rounds really quickly, you know, because you needed to protect yourself in the process of killing the animal. I don't see any argument, and I have not heard or read any argument that's convinced me yet that we need those weapons. I've seen what those weapons do, okay? I think any veteran has seen what weapons do like that.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, go ahead.
You said automatic.
Mm-hmm.
Automatic or semi-automatic?
I'm talking about automatic weapons.
Okay, well, in order to get an automatic weapon, you've got to spend a whole lot of money to get that one.
Right, that's why I said they're special.
I don't know anybody that has that.
Right, yeah, special, yes. The question was specifically about the automatic weapons. And then I was a bump stock. What is a bump stock, right? It's like the guy that I want to just really, you know, I want to be able to show my friends how cool I am. Look what I found. I got this gadget that makes this semi-automatic weapon into an automatic weapon and really totally badass, and look how cool I am and everything, and look what happened, right? I mean, how many people heard of the bump stocks? How many people thought that they were actually out there and people could get them and people were doing this to their guns, right? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Do we need those? Explain to me why we would need those, right? So, of course, it's easy. Now, this is another thing about the policy and the conversations that we need to be having with our politicians, right? Now, it's like, okay, what happened right after that shooting with the bump stocks? Okay, well, there was movement. Oh, let's get rid of the bump stock. Let's outlaw the bump stocks, because they figured if they did that, then it would prevent the conversation for any other type of ban on any type of weapon, that kind of thing. And it worked. In large part, it worked, because it really calmed people down. And I even heard Democrats talking about how they voted to outlaw the bump stock or whatever. They were proud. It was almost like, okay, well, that issue is resolved, and now we can move on to something else. That's ridiculous, okay? You convince the public that we need weapons that can fire that many rounds that quickly, okay? If you do that, then we'll have a conversation about still having them, okay? I don't see any reason that we need to do this. And large capacity magazines, I wrong. Some of these are ridiculous. What is the point of carrying 60, 75, 100 rounds of ammunition in a gun? What is the purpose of that? You're telling me that's for hunting purposes, right? You can't just have a rifle that you chamber around each time? A semi-automatic rifle that chambers up, one, but you don't have to have 60, 75, 100 rounds of ammo in your magazine? I mean, that's ridiculous. So we really need to address these issues and not let it become one of those things where people are saying that it's infringing on some kind of right that they have as a gun owner. Thank you.
So I don't think we've actually, anyone's banned bump stocks, right? Don't they still, can't you legally purchase them? Didn't they stop selling them, but you can still legally purchase them?
I think there's legislation in the works about being able.
Right, but it hasn't happened yet.
No.
So my take on this is, sure, I think we should ban them. I don't see the reason for having any kinds of devices that would increase the rate of fire of a semi-automatic to turn it into an effective, fully automatic weapon. Someone will set up here, I agree with some of it. Does a hunter need this stuff? Probably not. I actually shoot at a range. I don't as much as I used to. Do I need to have a magazine that has 50 rounds in it? Probably not. I don't need that. Again, how is it defined? What does it say in the law? Is it banning possession? Is it banning manufacture? Is it grandfathering things in? I think these are all things that need to be discussed with some of this. But at the same time, I believe that if anything, any kind of device could be sold to change a weapon from semi-automatic to having the effect of a fully automatic weapon, that it probably should not be legal to purchase unless you have an automatic weapon license. That's it.
All right, getting close to the end, we might run a little bit over, but that's totally fine. So our next question is about promoting the establishment of buyback programs. We know that there are legal and responsible gun owners, but we also know that high proportions of gun crimes are committed with stolen weapons, like in the USA. That's why we support modernized gun buyback programs, where cities can offer monetary compensations for surrendered semi-automatic handguns and working order, which are more commonly used in crimes rather than for long guns. Require participants to show proof of local residency to deter out-of-city dealers from using the buyback to liquidate low-value inventory. Buyback all illicit guns of confirmed local residents, no questions asked. Establish community drop-off locations such as churches or community centers, and implement a sophisticated communications campaign to attract a greater number of potential participants. Would you support such a program or any
I would support those programs. I would say any kind of voluntary thing that has any kind of incentive. If somebody wants to get rid of a gun and they want to do it safely, I don't have an issue with buyback programs. Again, as long as they're voluntary. If all of a sudden there's a law that comes up and says, oh, you have to sell your gun back, this one you can't have anymore, and we'll give you $100, to me, I have a problem with that. But I think any kind of voluntary buyback programs, I think it's an effective tool to remove guns from people who don't want them anymore. And so I would be supportive of any kind of voluntary buyback program.
Okay, yeah, I think buyback programs are a great idea. They've actually worked in communities where they've had it that worked quite well. And I think it's a big relief. I lived down in San Antonio for a couple of years, and they had a buyback program down there that worked really well for their community, got a lot of guns off the street. And what was interesting in some of the conversations that people were having when they were bringing the guns in, it was like people wanted the gun, they really wanted the gun, and when they had the gun, they didn't know how to get rid of the gun. So actually receiving some kind of money for this thing, I actually got a house where they were actually like almost forced to take care of this thing that they didn't want anymore. So I think that it's a really good idea. I don't know that necessarily, I heard through what you were reading something about them being a good working order. I really don't care. Like maybe we discount it because it doesn't work or whatever, but I think it would be a good idea if we get that somebody could put pieces, parts together, the serial numbers will get confused and they can make a useful weapon or whatever. So I think that it's a great idea. And I think the other thing that I've noticed when this happens, It isn't like everybody brings their guns in, but it's been very successful, and I think that the best thing about it, if you've ever been around when they've been doing it, is the sense of community and the relief that people feel like they're doing such a great thing for the community by getting these guns out of the community, because a lot of guns are stolen. I can't remember the exact number of guns that were stolen like over the last 15 years or whatever, but if you saw the number, it would absolutely shock you. I mean, it's unbelievable. So I think it'd be a really good idea. Thank you.
Yes, I support community buyback program. I think it's a great idea. Also, again, I support community safety. This would be a great way.
There's several local law enforcement agencies that have done this throughout the country. It's really a local issue because they have to fund it, and the funding will come from local government. So that's a big issue for local government. But I think it's a much bigger picture than that. And I would be okay if they want to do it. I've got no problem if somebody wants to get rid of a scrap iron that they take it in and hand it in. The bad part is, most likely, it's only going to be the good guy that does that. The criminal, the bad guy, that may have even committed a crime with that weapon, won't want to take it in. They'll do something else with it. They don't want to get caught with that weapon. So again, it's a big picture where it's going to affect probably just the honest guy out there. And unfortunately, that's really not what we're directing this to. We're directing it to trying to get weapons off the street that people don't want no more. But they're weapons coming from the wrong people. But I've got no problem with local government wanting to do that. They just have to find a way to fund it.
All right, this is our last question. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry for having you here the whole time. So this question is about NRA contributions. After the Parkland shooting, the New York Times ran an ad that states that Congressman Tim Walberg has received $96,138 from the NRA. In Michigan, for the 2017-2018 school year, there were 1,468,256 students in K through 12, and about 130,387 of those in Walberg's districts. If you do the math, that comes to about 73 cents per student. The NRA does not promote school safety, they only promote guns, and as long as the NRA is in your pocket or purse, you are beholden to them. Are our lives worth more than 73 cents to you? And can you pledge that while campaigning, if you should win your election, you will not take any more NRA donations?
Okay, well, obviously I'm not going to be taking any NRA donations. This is probably the other thing that I thought was like really important to bring up. And I think that this is just the way that I've been thinking about this, because I saw John Oliver's report. I don't know if you watched John Oliver on HBO, but he did a thing on the NRA, and he showed clips from the NRA TV channel that they have and everything. And it was really disheartening, but obviously it's all about money. And it really is all about money. It's all about money. And buying politicians is one thing, okay? And I think that if you are not aware of how powerful the NRA is, you really need to study up on it. Do a little bit of reading. It won't take long for you to see what they do. But they're very, very powerful. They're very, very good at intimidating everyone, whether you're taking the money or not taking the money. If you oppose them, like I just said I did, so I'm sure that there will be somebody interested in running some kind of opposition mailing or something against me. That's fine, bring it on, that's okay. Because I really think that the solution to this problem is getting more people to vote, okay? Getting more people to vote. There are more people that don't support the NRA. There are more people in favor of gun safety and more gun control, that, with more background checks and that type of thing, than the NRA can suppress, okay? The reason that their game works is because both parties have this really great idea of limiting the number of people that participate in the elections that they're running in. Okay, it's especially prominent in primary elections, okay? And what they do is they don't go out and necessarily try really hard to get new voters into the system. But here's how I see it working. We get everybody to start voting. Everybody starts voting, okay? then the NRA doesn't really have much control at all. The more people that vote, the more Democrats are going to end up being elected, the more independents are going to be elected, the more progressives are going to be elected to office. Okay? We're not going to be taking the NRA's money. They'll have no ability to take us out. What they will do is they will run mailings and advertising against us to help our opponent, who is a Republican, win that election. But if we have more people than they can supply to that Republican candidate who is taking NRA money, it really doesn't matter what the NRA does. It doesn't matter what commercials they run. It doesn't matter how many mailings they send out. They're not going to be able to defeat the people. The people need to start voting again. They need to know that you need politicians that are actually going to do the right things for the people, that are going to listen to the people who are sitting there screaming now saying, listen, something needs to be done. Again, like, how heartbreaking is it? Think about it. Young people in school worried about getting killed daily, right? Like, think of how insane that is, okay? Voting is the key to all of this. We need to take the power from those who will let this game be played and give it back to the people. And the people need to know that they have people that are running for office, that are serving in office, that will not be playing that game, that will not be taking that money, will not allow themselves to be pressured. If I win an election in November against Tim Walworth, I can tell you right now, it is fine. If I lose, it's fine, okay? Because if it's because of the NRA doing that thing, because it means this message between us isn't working. And we need to do more work on that, communicating, before it will actually succeed. And when the people take the power back from people like the NRA and all these corporations that control our government, we will no longer have problems like this, and you will again feel safe in school. I promise you.
What's that? Did somebody say something? Okay, well,
Do you want to talk after? Do you want to talk after?
no, I'd like to talk more.
Okay.
Are you saying that the NRA is advocating and supporting unsafe gun?
Yes.
Yes.
I wasn't,
My question is how?
okay, no, I wasn't saying that. What I'm saying is that they put their money in the system.
Okay, but in the context of what you said, you were talking about safe, unsafe, and then labeling NRA with unsafe. This group of people says that they are advocating unsafe gun, whatever. How?
That's a conversation to have in the community. That's what I was saying earlier. That's a conversation that we need to have.
Okay, we're having it now.
Right.
That's what we're here for.
Well, this is my form. I thought to talk to you. Okay.
I think your Dickey amendment that they discussed earlier was a perfect example of how the NRA is advocating
Absolutely.
for. Yeah.
So this is what I'm going to say about this. I've never received contributions from the NRA. To me, they tend to support one party that's not the party that I represent. I have gotten, as I stated earlier, a pretty good rating with the NRA, not a perfect one, because I believe that there should be compromise positions on some of these issues that we're talking about today. That being said, when you start to look at money in influencing elections, there's different ways that it happens. Because I got a check from a certain organization doesn't necessarily mean that they own me. I can tell you that if somebody gives me a $100 contribution, a $500 contribution, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to vote to represent the people themselves. What it does mean is that at least on some of the issues that are coming up now, that I believe in some of the same issues. So I just wanted to clarify that. That being said, I think there should be less money in politics. We had a recent vote on 2 Senate bills, 335 and 336, which codified Citizens United. The Citizens United decision that came from the Supreme Court of the United States said essentially that unlimited money could be spent in campaigns. Now there's some caveats with that, but what it did was it equated money as free speech. The problem I have with that is if you have more money, then you have more free speech. At the state level, it was voted upon by the current office holders, and it was straight party lines against it, and in fact, some Republicans actually voted against it also. So to me, and these were portrayed as bills that codified Citizens United in this state. Okay? So the question becomes, well, it's federal law, so then we codify state law. I don't care. I don't care if there can be a court case against it later. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And I would not have voted and would not ever vote for anything that would allow unlimited money, which is essentially what these bills did, in politics, whether it's from the NRA or any organization. So I just wanted to wrap it up and bring it back full circle with this. The NRA can spend money, there's other groups that can spend money too. Just because you have gotten money, and again, I have not, from the NRA, never received a direct contribution from them or an indirect contribution through another organization that I'm aware of for any campaign that I've ever run. So would I pledge not to take money from the NRA directly? Sure, until they change their stance on some of the things they advocate for. I will say this, the NRA does occasionally try to promote gun safety. Whether you believe that it is a real thing or something that they're just saying, that's up to you to figure out. They have what's called an Eddie the Eagle program. It's been around, it's been funded, and it does promote gun safety. So I'm not a cheerleader for the NRA. I don't like some of their tactics on some of the things they do, but at the same time, you know, sure, I'll pledge right now not to take direct contributions from the NRA.
Well, first of all, that 100,000 that went towards Mr. Wahlberg, some of that was directly directed to me, saying that I was anti-Second Amendment. Some of you may have heard about that. That is not true. I do support the Second Amendment. I want to make sure that, I think I've said it a few times today, that I support safe communities. I support us working across the aisle to solve the issues that we have in our communities. I support us talking together. So over here, I sense already that there's going to be a very interesting dialogue, and I think it's really important that we learn from each other about where we're coming from and how we move forward as a community, because we have to come together and protect our citizens and protect our children and protect our communities. And you know, I believe as a 20 years I was nonpartisan. I'll work with anybody to solve the issues that we have in our communities. But at the end of the day, we have to work together to do this. We can't fight against each other. And so, for your question about taking money from the NRA, I would not take money from the NRA. They don't support my agenda, the things I'm interested in doing. So that would be number one. Number two was talk a little bit about the money in politics, and I will tell you, I've been a direct, that's affected my career significantly when, as I mentioned, in local government. The most money I ever raised was when I was mayor. I ran for mayor against the incumbent mayor back in 1998. I raised $5,000 so I could do yard signs, and I could go to every house in my community with my little black and white trifold and talk to people. And that's what I believe. I believe in the grassroots. I believe in talking to people and sharing information that's factual. I don't believe in going after the other opponent. I have different values and different ideas and different ways I want to move our communities forward. I want to talk about jobs and how to make sure that we get good paying jobs and that we can stay in our own town and raise our kids in our own town and have good schools. There are so many really, really important things that we need to be talking about that we're not talking about. So money in politics is a terrible, terrible problem. And one of the first things I did, because I did run for the state house, because I was really unhappy with how they were taking, they cut money not only to our K-12 funding, but to our higher education, so that people that wanted to go to more school and get better paying jobs or have a different kind of future with some of our local universities, we cut funding for that. So we're not doing the right decisions at the state level. So that's one of the reasons I ran. Plus, I've been mayor of a small town for a long time, and I saw our infrastructure failing all over the country. And instead of investing in our infrastructure and bringing business and growing our businesses here in Michigan, we were cutting the things that actually make our community stronger. And I was mad about that. So that's why I ran against an incumbent Republican in 2012. And I said, I went to as many houses as I could, to the point where I was talking to people. I would go to houses 3 times. Like, even after I got elected, I went to a couple houses and they're like, I remember you coming here on your bicycle. And you know, it's a pretty rural area. I got to drive up some really long driveways, but I'll do that because that's who, you know, Steve is right. What's important is that people get out and vote, because you can make a difference. If it was about the money, I would put this mic down right now and I would go home and I would take care of my baby granddaughter and I would vote, but it's not about the money. You guys need to stand up and fight for what you want, and I want to be with you and do that fighting. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Did you all have the opportunity to ask questions?
Yes.
That figures